K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
Hey. Oh, you muted. There we go. All right. Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. You are watching another episode of Isaiah's Lakers Lose Again. I'm just kidding. You're watching another episode of Sports Minute. So let me go ahead and welcome you in the crew tonight that we have tonight. We have Mr. Big B. How you doing tonight, my man?
Hey, doing good. I won't talk about cards tonight because it was an awful night. I felt like the Lakers playing Houston tonight when I was playing cards. So, but outside that, I'm ready to talk some sports.
Yet again, there is a pattern there. There is a pattern there. When every time you come on and say, cards.
Well, last week was a good week. I don't think Lakers played last week, so that might be the pattern. Every time the Lakers play, then I suck at cards.
All right. Welcome in, James Gonzalez. How you doing tonight?
Good evening. No, I'm good. Good to be here. Some interesting topics as always, and I can't wait for the big question coming up tonight.
All right, and then welcome in the man that his Lakers lose again, but this time to the Houston Rockets of all teams. So welcome in, Mr. Isaiah Leong. How you doing tonight?
Well, I've had better days. I'll say that. I've had, better days. Tonight was definitely not a fun night, but, I'm glad to be able to do this, to be able to be on this show and talk about the topics that we have tonight. We don't have any Lakers topics, which I'm glad about because, I don't know. I don't want to discuss this absolute disgrace of a game that happened tonight. Down there in H-Town, but good to see you guys, and it's going to be a fun show.
All right, and then of course, welcome in John Alcorn. How you doing tonight, my man?
I'm good. This is not sports related, but I just saw a trailer today for upcoming TV show that I'm super excited about. So something that Isaiah, we need to quiz him on, aka Star Wars. Sorry, I had a cough there, but looking forward to the show.
All right, well, welcome in. Justin Bossman, welcome in Christy Wilson. Callan says he'll probably be here pretty soon. Welcome in Cody. So Cody, I do want to let you know because I know you mentioned you dropped a little topic about AEW there, but we actually don't talk about wrestling on this show. We talk about wrestling on Tuesdays and Sundays nights. So if you're looking for a wrestling show, the next one will be Sunday, so you'll want to catch it then on Sunday night. And then, of course, welcome in Casey King. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into some awesome topics that we have for you tonight. Number one, the big topic.
Number one.
The big topic that I said we need to throw out there and talk about tonight, because the news broke today, and I think it actually surprised a lot of people. So it came out that Carson Wentz actually got traded to the Washington Commanders. Now, there's a few things that I've heard about this. Number one, I've really heard that right now the Indianapolis Colts are really interested in Jordan Love. It really makes me wonder why. Like, you've seen a small sample size. So the Colts, maybe cap-wise, maybe they're like, okay, we'll see, if Jordan Love is our future. Potentially, maybe that's kind of what it is. But when the Colts traded Washington agreed to pay his full salary.
Seriously?
Yeah, they did. That was the agreement. The agreement was Washington is supposed to pay Carson's full salary. Washington took the deal to pay his full salary. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Really? Wow. That's what surprised me. But in the end, it kind of surprised me that the Colts wanted to move on from Carson Wentz. Now, I'm not saying that Carson Wentz is the best quarterback out there, but he's definitely not the worst. He is a quarterback that I think can be a game manager. When he's healthy, he's good enough, but sometimes makes some questionable throws. Really does. But you only gave him a year in Indy. And I think with Jonathan Taylor and Pittman and these guys, I think that they would actually have a good team going. So, Big B, I'll start with you. Well, not really who, but what's your thoughts on this Carson Wentz trade to Washington?
We've seen him play. When healthy, he's probably in the MVP category every time. He was in the MVP category when he went down the year they won the Super Bowl. Came back, started off hot with Philly, got hurt again. Then he went to the Colts, started off hot, and everybody was talking, okay, So if he stays healthy, Washington got a hell of a deal. I'm looking at it right now. And if he plays 70% of the snaps, that third round pick becomes a second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
If Washington, I think, is doing what the new norm is going to be, and if they believe they're a quarterback away, they're going to take their chance on it. So if he stays healthy, he's going to be in the MVP talks more than Trevor Lawrence will be Isaiah. So, but it's all on health, and Washington's putting all their eggs in the basket for him being healthy. So I like Washington's defense. They got a stud quarterback when healthy. So Washington might be a team to watch out for if I was in that division with them.
Yeah, but last year, though, the worst thing about Washington last year that I was expecting more of, their defense last year really underachieved. I thought their defense was going to be a lot better, and it was not as good as I thought it was going to be. Now, the big question mark going into this season on the defensive side of the ball for Washington is going to be, is Chase Young going to be ready because of the injury that he had last year? That's going to be the biggest question mark. But can that defense get back to where they were, not last year, but the year before when they were like number 4 in the league? Last year, I don't know, man. They just had some problems on defense. I think if they would have been a better defensive team, I think they would have been able to have a better year, even with Heineke at quarterback, even though he's not the greatest quarterback. But I still think that they could have – they definitely could have been right around maybe a game or so over 500 at that point if their defense was healthy.
And this comes a day after they offered Seattle 3 first-rounders for Russell Wilson.
Wow. Yeah. That was the biggest thing. That they were talking about how Washington actually offered Seattle a better deal, but Seattle said no because they did not want Russell Wilson in the NFC. So that's why they said no. They wanted him in the AFC. So then Washington's like, okay, well, we'll go with our backup plan. We'll go ahead and go with Carson Wentz. And the Colts are like, okay, maybe we'll take a look at Jordan Love. I don't know why, but they're potentially taking a look at him. It's going to be interesting that Carson Wentz is going back to the NFC East where he started. That's where it's going to get interesting because now he gets to play against his former team twice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it'd be nice to hear from a Dallas Cowboy fan to see what they think of it.
Right. All right. Ishmael saying good evening. So welcome in, Ishmael. Thank you. Hope you're having a good night. All right. James, what's your thoughts on this trade?
Well, it's good to be here with a competent host for once. Anyway, yeah, Carson Wentz, he had a pretty good year last year. The rating was down, but 27 touchdowns, 7 picks, threw for over 300 or 3,500 yards. The thing is, this is not going to be his, last stop. He's going to eventually be traded around again. He does some things well, but then the clutch moments late, he, files under pressure. So maybe there's motivation to play against his former team twice, the Eagles. I thought, though, Frank Wright and Wentz, I thought that was going to be for a while, but obviously that wasn't the case. It does leave it open for what I think will still happen with the Colts, that they get Jimmy G off of a trade or a release. Trade would be first, but I really don't know what Washington's doing, honestly. I thought maybe they don't trust Heineke, or they don't trust that he gets injured a lot or something. But Taylor's not a bad insurance policy if Wentz, because he gets hurt a lot. That's not a bad policy right there. So I would have gone with Tyler Heineke, honestly. But the defense, like you mentioned, even with Chase Young before he got hurt, was really bad, and it was weird to see because they were one of the best in 2020. So I was kind of shocked at this move, and also kind of disappointed because on another show that won't be mentioned here, I had him going to the Giants off of a trade. I thought Misery needs company, and I thought he would want to play the Eagles twice a year. And now he plays Philly twice a year, but with Washington. So but he has some. Hey, he has some weapons there. He has a couple of good running backs with Antonio Gibson, and you got Terry McLaurin, good tight end there as well. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, the underrated J.D. McKissick.
Yeah.
As a running back, McKissick is very, very underrated. But I'm not talking about, running the ball. I'm talking about in the passing game, man. Like that dude for running back has some hands, and he's really
you can throw it to him, which is great. That's going to be a good move there. Logan Thomas was the tight end I was thinking of.
Absolutely.
They can even draft some more firepower if they choose to, do that defensively. But you can find someone offensively to make the wide receiver corp a little better as well. But yeah, they're stacked running back wise.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, John, what is your thoughts on this one?
Both teams are stupid. Both teams suck. One team doesn't have a good name. With the Colts not making the playoffs, I think that was a huge impact on their decision. Because if they made the playoffs and let's say they were somewhat competitive in the wild card, but unfortunately lost later in the game, I don't think Carson Wentz would have been traded at all. Because this team, in turns on paper, they're a win now team with that offensive line, with those players on defense. Yes, there's maybe some things to adjust a little bit, but overall, they're a team that, with the right quarterback, could potentially make a deep run in the playoffs. And Carson Wentz wasn't bad, but he was also miserably so bad because he wouldn't be bad, but he wouldn't be good because he would have 100 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, or then 200 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Okay, fine. You have a great running attack, and yet Carson Wentz he didn't turn the ball over a lot, but he also didn't throw a lot of touchdowns either. Washington football team settled. This is the same team in a rumor. Hopefully, this is just a rumor that called Kansas City about Mahomes. Again, that's most likely just a rumor overall. But they settled. Ron Rivera, I think, panicked a little bit because you don't really have a lot of options now. With, like you said, the defense definitely played terrible last year, like a lot of Isaiah's takes with Drew Lock and the Jets. I don't think bringing in Carson Wentz is going to change anything. I think that 1 year in 2017 was his year, or not necessarily, I wouldn't say a fluke, but it was those special year in sports that sometimes you can't just recreate. We've seen that in basketball. We've seen that in football and college football, to where you have that magical run, and then guys either go to the draft or they ask for a transfer. And you saw that with LSU. A lot of those guys were going to the draft. They had that magical year. And I think with Washington now, they're not going to win anything with Carson Wentz. I mean, I don't really see how anything is going to be different. But for the Colts, I see this as another Jacoby Brissett situation with potentially being interested in Jordan Love. Not great, not terrible, but you don't really have a lot of information on him. You don't know what he's going to be. They gave him a chance after Andrew Luck retired. They gave him a 2-year deal. Obviously, after a year, it didn't work out. It was a terrible decision. But I see that as more of a Jacoby Brissett situation with the Colts.
No, I'm there with you, but now don't forget though, before Carson Wentz got hurt, Carson Wentz was actually in the MVP race when he started out in Philadelphia. There was 1 year he was playing lights out, and then he got hurt, and then he wasn't the same quarterback after that because that was a ACL tear. So that actually did a lot of damage to him. But Callan actually had a question that said, where do we rank Carson Wentz among the NFC East right now among the quarterbacks? And when I look at the NFC East, and you can laugh at this if you want, but because of the quarterbacks that are in the NFC East, I would actually put him second at this.
I was just about to say the same thing.
He's got to be second, and that is because he's better than Daniel Jones.
Definitely.
And he's better than Jalen Hurts. So he's definitely so to me, he's definitely second in the NFC East. All right. So Isaiah, your thoughts.
My thoughts on this move is that this reeks of desperation by Ron Rivera and the Washington football team. The Washington, they're not the football team, they're the Commanders, right? Is that their new name? The
Yes,
Commander. You tell us, Isaiah. What's their name?
I really said the Washington Colts, by the way, but that's besides the point. The Washington Commanders were desperate. They wanted to land one of the high-profile veteran quarterbacks on the market this offseason, but they swung and missed on so many of the guys. Like they tried to get Rodgers. They put in a call from Mahomes. They tried to get Russell Wilson. I think they even made an offer to Seattle. It was like 4 first-round picks or something.
Isaiah, I was gonna say, don't forget. The report was that Washington called every single team in the NFL. They called every team in the NFL to see who was willing to trade their quarterback.
There is no way Kansas City was going to trade Mahomes to anybody.
No. I know. Well, I know, but they
are you guys serious that Washington called every team?
Yes.
They
Washington called every single team. They called every single team to see who was willing to trade their quarterback. They called.
Well, hell, they called the wrong person for Minnesota because I would have traded him right away.
That's so.
They could not have called Kansas City. I would have hung up on them.
They did. They called Kansas City. God. They called Buffalo. They called. They did. They called Kansas City. They called Buffalo. They called Baltimore. They called
Green Bay, I'm sure too.
The Chargers. They called Green Bay. I mean, they were calling everybody.
I've never seen a franchise more desperate in my life in any sport. Every single franchise. That's like wait. So hold up. So that means they called the Bengals too.
They did.
Probably. They probably even told the Broncos for Drew Lock too. Who knows?
I mean, who cares? Drew Lock is a bust, but that's not the point.
All right, so Isaiah, go ahead and finish your take.
So, Washington called everybody. They tried to get Rodgers. That didn't happen. Rodgers went back to Green Bay. They offered up basically the farm for Russell Wilson. Seattle declined. They shipped him to the AFC instead. And then, I'm pretty sure the whole Deshaun Watson thing, they got turned down as well. They got turned down by so many people that they just settled for the last remaining, top veteran quarterback out there. They couldn't get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I think Wentz was probably like their 5th choice to be their quarterback. There's no way he's the first choice, no matter what Ron Rivera or the Washington Commanders even say. He was their 5th choice. This reeks of desperation. And I honestly don't think it's an upgrade from Heineke. I think you're basically in the same situation than you are last year. The defense took a major step back last year, even with Chase Young in the lineup. So I don't know what Washington is doing. The Colts, I don't know what they're doing either, to be honest with you, because, you get rid of Wentz, but now the rumor is you want Jimmy Garoppolo, who he's also been very injury prone as well. So I don't know. It's just these two teams I guess they just traded one for the other. Just that's how this kind of is. One mediocre quarterback for another.
All right. Well, the thing is, though, I can tell you now, Carson Wentz is better than Drew Lock.
Oh yeah, that shouldn't be a question.
But Russell Wilson is better than Drew Lock. So when it comes down to it, when Denver made the trade with Seattle, that was it was good for Denver. I mean, they definitely made out in that trade because Drew Lock definitely wasn't the guy.
What about this take, guys? I've seen this pop up a couple times.
What's
Let's
that?
see.
Oh, Wentz is better than Dak?
No.
Yes.
Whoa. That's no.
Ban him from the
I would
comments.
take Drew Lock over Wentz. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
What?
Yeah, because Drew Lock
Isaiah.
wasn't utilized the right
Be
way in
quiet.
Denver. Pat
Be
Shermer is one of the worst play
Isaiah.
callers I have
Whoa.
ever
Wow.
seen in my life.
Hush.
Chris, that's wild take number
Chris
one,
has
please.
one.
So, now hold on before we jump to our next topic, because now I'm really enjoying this football talk here quick, because we mentioned how Russell Wilson went to Denver. If you look at that AFC West division, oh my goodness. Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson. When I looked at the list today, they actually had Justin Herbert ranked as the worst quarterback in the West. And I'm like, I don't know about that one.
See, I saw one that had Carr ranked fourth.
He's better than Derek Carr.
He is. He's better than Derek Carr. So I don't put Herbert last.
Also, he puts up better numbers than Wilson has.
I think he's slowly taking over being better than Wilson. But I'm telling you, that AFC West this year, I think it's going to be really good. I really do.
Outside of Aaron Rodgers, I say right now, the top 5 best quarterbacks are all in the AFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthew.
And maybe even possibly top 10. I mean,
Matthew
if we
Stafford,
don't count
Aaron
Stafford.
Rodgers.
Well, take out Aaron Rodgers, yeah. Stafford, yeah, I guess I'd probably put him in top 10. But
yeah, it's close. I mean, people are going to look at that now and be like, is Herbert better than Wilson? Is he? I mean, is he?
No.
We're
jumping the gun.
Yes. He has
Wilson's
days to go
33.
before he's as good
Exactly.
as Wilson is.
Wilson has been there longer.
Mm-hmm.
Wilson has been better for more years than Herbert has. Herbert's still young.
Yes.
I want to see Herbert continue to do what he's doing. If he continues to do what he's doing, then maybe I will say that Herbert is better than Wilson. Currently, I won't say that because Russell Wilson's still there.
Yes.
Let's just say he's on his way.
Yeah, Herbert's on his way. He just had, one great
I
good
hope
year.
not, but he's on his way.
I would say give me 6 games with Wilson and then let's talk about that. Because I mean,
And don't
Wilson's
forget,
a good team
Wilson
right
was
now.
hampered in Seattle too, because Seattle always wanted to just run the football.
How is he
No
hampered in
offensive
Seattle
line.
when you got 2 of the best receiving?
No offensive line, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the offensive line,
that
the play
offensive line was
calling. I
terrible.
mean, they wanted just to run the football most of the time and play great
Before the
defense.
2020 season, he was a top 8, top 9 top 10 most sacks quarterback. And no quarterback, no matter how good you are, can succeed in that type of system.
No, and I get that part, but you
Right.
can't
Go
say
Burrow.
he's hampered. I mean,
Well, here's
he
what
was
I
always
mean
in
by
the MVP
hampered.
talk.
No, he was great with what he did, but I'm saying
Yeah.
in Denver, you're going to see him be even better just because they're going to just give the ball to Russell Wilson and let him cook. That's going to be the offense in Denver. In Seattle, it was more of
I'm worried
Yeah,
about his
Wilson-
offensive weapons in Denver.
hand the ball.
To clarify though, okay, so to clarify this, yes, Russell Wilson was behind a horrible offensive line in Seattle. I mean, terrible. That was why for the last 2 years that Russell's like, you got to do something or I'm going to die back here. And you know what? He had a legitimate gripe. He's like, dude, my offensive line is horrible. It is atrocious. I'm like on my back almost every play.
Because think about that. Even with the terrible offensive line, guarantee you, his best years, 2019, 4,000 yards, 2020, 4,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, 71 touchdowns in 2019, 2020.
Exactly.
Now put those weapons with Jerry Jeudy, Courtland Sutton, and you have your
Patrick.
running back and Patrick Surtain as your corner. work on the offensive line, it is going to be really good for Bronco fans.
But
Yeah.
Denver already has a better offensive line than Seattle. So
That's what makes it even better. So
Great.
they continue to always improve on that instead of just keeping it the same. It's going to be a really good year.
Damn it.
absolutely.
It's going to be better than in years past.
Well, yeah, so Russell Wilson is already jumping into a better position than what he was in before. Because not only does Denver have a better offensive line, but Denver already has a better defense than Seattle did. They're going to have – now, this is where it's kind of debatable because DK Metcalf, I think, that dude is good. Like, he's a great receiver.
Yeah.
But do they have – but does Denver really have another receiver like DK Metcalf at the moment?
Well, I don't think they necessarily – I think the difference with them, at least with Denver, along with the receivers, you can have a consistent running game because the problem is when you drafted Rashad Penny in 2017, he's a bust. Chris Carson, who can play well, he come out running football, he can be injured consistently and fumbles the football. So it's like with Seattle, you have the receivers who Tyler Lockett starts to dip in production once the season progresses, and the running tech not be consistent. With that, with Javonte Williams, and maybe you can bring back Melvin Gordon on a cheap deal, you can have that consistent, healthy running game along with evenly distributing the football. So it's not going to be like Wilson to DK or Drew Brees to Michael. But I could be wrong.
No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that in any way. The one thing I am saying is that, yeah, Denver may not have that one, that one true receiver that's better than DK, but they have more variety than Seattle does. That's what stands out to Denver over Seattle. They have more of a variety, and I think that's what's going to really help Russell Wilson.
I got a question here for Justin because I want to know what he means by Russell Wilson's. It's a make or break year for Russell Wilson in Denver.
It's not.
I gotta understand where he's coming from before I could even. Because right now it's not. He's at a new team. You got to give him at least 1 year.
He's had 34 interceptions in 3 years. It was 70. He's had almost 100 plus touchdowns in the last 3 years, with over 105 quarterback rating from 2019-2020. And last year, 103 quarterback rating with that terrible team, and that's with missing 45 plus games. So
I mean, yeah, and he's going to an absolute stacked division. I mean, just loaded.
That's why I don't understand how you can put this on. If Denver doesn't make the playoffs, how are you going to put this on Russell Wilson? Because that division is stacked. I mean,
yeah.
Sorry, James.
Damn it.
I know that was
anybody can win that. Well, I mean, Kansas City. It's Kansas City's division to lose.
It's going to be a lot harder now because it's
James, being a Raiders fan, I can picture this now. James, as a Raiders fan, he's sitting there, he's scrolling through Facebook, and it's like Russell Wilson to Denver. It's like, dang it, come on now!
Like I said the other day, I was like, man, I really enjoyed the 2 wins against the Broncos every year. Now those are gone.
Pretty much.
Those are gone.
He's like, come on now. Can I catch a break here?
It was a great way to start the work day yesterday. I was like, really? Really?
Dude, I thought it was a prank, and I was like, there's no way like Denver actually put up.
I did too. I was napping and woke up and I saw the headline and my phone blowing up. I'm like, really? Wilson to the Denver? I was like, come on, guys.
Just I was scrolling through Twitter, and as soon as I saw it, I had to show one of my coworkers who's a diehard Broncos fan. I showed her it, and she was all like, woohoo!
I thought it was a joke. Like, I thought it was a joke.
I was like, huh?
I know. I was sleeping. I woke up. I looked at my phone. I thought I was dreaming. I nearly slapped myself because I was like, I wanted to make sure I wasn't actually dreaming.
Just
Isaiah, is Justin your brother? Because is he saying the Chargers are the face of that division?
Oh my
What?
god!
No.
Ban him from commenting.
I don't even know. I don't know what he's saying, to be honest.
He's got to be related to you to come up with that.
Maybe he is my long lost brother. Who knows? Maybe he's like Batman and Superman, long lost twins, born as twins.
Way off. Voice of God, Chris. It's another one.
So the next topic that we would talk about, I'm going to actually save that one for later. I'm going to save that one for later. So we're going to jump to our next one, which is, and I know Isaiah had a lot to say about this. So keep in mind, Chris, remember what we said. So just in case.
Oh,
just in case.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
And we're at
All right.
2 wild takes there, Chris.
I thought it was
2
three.
wild takes.
We're
Oh,
at 2
we're
right
two.
now.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. So our question is, you have bottom of the ninth, 2 outs. You need to score 1 run to win the game. Who are you taking as the batter? Who do you want up to bat at this point?
Ooh.
And remember, I said this can be it doesn't have to be current. It can be anybody in the history of baseball.
Okay.
Who are you taking? Big B, I'll start with you.
Man, this is really tough for me because, man, anybody. I'm going to go with the players I've seen because, I mean, we could take Babe Ruth, Mantle, Willie Mays. Nobody on. I got 2 people. Nobody on. I'm taking Puckett. And that might be a homer take. I've seen him close out many games. You give me a runner on second or third, I'm taking Tony Gwynn to slap it in the gap. That's my 2 guys.
You know what? I was right there with you, man. I was saying if I had to, I would go. And you can say I'm wrong about this, but I'm telling you, one of the best hitters in the history of baseball was Tony Gwynn. And I'll tell you, if you have a runner on base, you want Tony Gwynn. How many people in the history of baseball can you say batted like a 331 in their freaking career? Like it is crazy what he batted in his career. So James, I'm definitely gonna go with you next on this one. Who are you taking?
Man, I had to go through a couple of names. I was gonna take David Ortiz, but his steroid use, I don't know about that. Reggie Jackson, it seems like he would, really swing and miss a lot. He would try to go for the homer in clutch situations. Although there's been times where he, definitely was he was a clutch player. But Derek Jeter, he had so many moments in October and in Mr. November. Mm-hmm. Albert Pujols in my generation was probably the most clutch hitter that I remember. Not with the Angels, but with the Cardinals, of course. I saw he always hit Brad Lidge. Like, I always remember that against Albert Pujols against Brad Lidge. Always killed him. And then he had the 3 home runs against Texas. And then Tony Gwynn was taken. So for me, and this is going to sound awful, this might be a wild take for me. And I don't know if a lot of people know about him, honestly. But Joe Morgan would be mine.
Oh,
okay.
Morgan's a good one. I like that.
Hey, not a bad choice. I like it.
He had clutch hits in the postseason. That's where he made his mark. And he was always on winning teams. And he'd always knock out teams when there was no wild card. He would always have big hits to knock out teams that were trying to win. Like in 1982, he had a big home run.
Jackson's a good one, though, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Joe Morgan is mine. I could always trust him to not overswing. Very clutch in any situation, honestly. And defensive, too.
But let's not forget, though, since you're mentioning Joe Morgan, I was going to say let's not forget Pete Rose, because a lot of people, oftentimes forget about Pete Rose. But Pete Rose was one of the clutchest baseball players there are, one of the best hitters of all time. I mean, that dude was just a flat out that dude could rake. So absolutely. So John, I know you haven't really been a big baseball guy, but do you want to take a stab at this?
Bo Jackson.
Huh?
Who was it? Was it Bo Jackson or Deion back in the day that played?
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson.
I'm just gonna go with him.
All right. Not bad.
If there's a couple other players maybe I would choose, but they're too young, so there's not necessarily a lot of body at work for them yet.
Mike Trout.
Okay. That's a good one.
All right. Isaiah.
Oh.
This is easy, guys. This is
really Isaiah.
Hello, Isaiah.
Chris, are you ready?
I thought you were under the weather. I thought you weren't, feeling so hot tonight.
Really, Isaiah.
This is easy. It's not Babe Ruth. It's not Lou Gehrig. It's not Hank Aaron. Sorry,
Oh my
Tim.
God.
It's not Pete Rose. It's not Bobby Bonds. It's not
Bobby Bonds.
What?
Yeah,
Who's Bobby
Bobby
Bonds?
Willie
father.
Mays, Barry Bonds.
Yes,
Oh
I know.
God.
I know who Bobby Bonds is, but why would you bring up Bobby Bonds?
Well, because I said Bobby,
you-
right? And I forgot the last name of the person I
Barry.
wanted to say.
I was gonna say, do you mean Barry Bonds?
Yeah, so I said Bobby, and then I was like, oh crap, who's the guy that I wanted to
Isaiah. Good grief,
the
man.
last name? And then I was like, oh,
All right,
God,
who is
it
it,
must be
Isaiah?
Bonds.
Spit it
Oh,
out.
Bobby Thompson. Bobby Thompson, the guy that hit the shot
Get
heard around the world.
to the point.
He had
This is
one
easy.
big moment.
It is Prince Fielder. Prince Fielder, the
No.
big
Oh my God. Hold on.
fluffy
Hold on.
Oh dear
Okay.
Lord.
Take him
Isaiah.
off. Take him off.
Isaiah,
Prince
Did I tell you yesterday? Did I put a statistic in the chat yesterday? I told you in Prince Fielder's career, in his 8-year career, he struck out over 1,100 times. 1,100 times in 8 years.
Wow.
That's averaging almost 140 plus strikeouts a season. Tony Gwynn played 12 plus seasons and he struck out 442 times. You're telling me that you're
Greatest
going to take
of
a
all
guy who struck
time.
out 1,100 times in 8 seasons over a guy who played 12 plus years and struck out 442?
Ugh.
Because my mindset is this. I'm down by 1, right? I need,
Right.
or is it 1 run to win? But
Mhm.
you're tied. Okay. I need 1 run.
This is why you will
to
never
win.
be a manager in baseball because you think home run all the damn time. Get
I
the
need
base
1
hit.
run to win.
Take the sack fly.
Doesn't matter if it's a strike. If it's a strikeout, we go
Wait,
home.
yeah,
we call
wait,
it a match.
Isaiah. I
Home
thought
run, tie game, or win.
Wait,
I thought points were overrated though.
Exactly.
Runs.
This is the problem with this generation right now of the young generation watching baseball.
Notably, you
The
up there in
problem
square
is-
5.
yeah.
The problem is the younger generation that watches baseball now doesn't understand about base hitting, getting on base, moving the base, moving the runners over, bunting, playing small ball to win games. That's
The
what's going to win you games.
fundamentals.
It's not about home runs. I would rather have somebody who's going to come up to the plate, bat over 300 every time, maybe hit 15 home runs a year, maybe drive in maybe 70 runs a year, but bat over 300, than have a guy who's going to hit 40 home runs, drive in 90, but have a 220 average.
And strike out over 100 times per season.
Yeah, and strike out over 150 times. So
Yeah.
Ryan Howard.
I'm
I
telling
was
you,
also
man,
going to say Ryan Howard is my second choice too.
Oh dear
No.
Lord.
dude.
Dear God.
Oh,
Josh Hamilton.
boy. Nope.
no.
No, absolutely not.
Gosh, dude.
Nope.
You have to understand how small ball works in baseball, Isaiah. You're going to win a lot more games by playing small ball than you are about the long ball.
It's not, it's not exciting, but it is super effective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I miss bunting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love small ball. I really do, and I hope my A's
But
play
yet
more
you
small
pick
ball.
Tony Gwynn and Pete Rose.
You are all about
You're
the
talking
long
about
ball,
home
Isaiah.
runs. You're sitting here
All about
saying
the home runs
that
here.
if the game's on the line, you want a home run. That's not small ball. That is not small ball.
Well, because we have
It
2 outs,
doesn't
right? We have 2
work
outs.
that way.
Oh dear God.
Yes, but you don't need a home run to win the game. You just need a base hit if you have runners on.
Yeah.
I'd rather take my chances with a long ball to win
No.
it and just go.
No.
I take my
Wow.
chances
guy
with
that
a
strikes
ground
out
rule
the
double,
manager.
by the way.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Wow. So Tim Hendricks is saying, I'm a Brewers fan, and even I say no. If you want to take a Brewer,
Thank
you
you.
take Nick Aaron or Robin Young.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Or Molitor.
Molitor,
And-
Yount.
And
Good
and
choices
Casey
there.
King is saying MLB is a joke, and in the way they're going, I don't see this labor deal getting settled until okay. We're
Oh,
yeah,
dear
we're
God.
definitely there. And then Tim saying Hamilton loved his drugs too much. It's true.
It's sad.
true. Josh
True. He
Hamilton,
loved his drugs and he loved
absolutely.
his booze.
And
Unfortunately.
then And Casey King is even telling you, Isaiah, you got to play small ball at times. You do. You have to play small ball at times. You have to. That's why if you ever watch the movie Moneyball, Isaiah, Billy Bean was always like, don't be afraid to bunt the runner over. Bunt the freaking runner over if you need to. It's all about.
In case you forgot, Isaiah, that movie's about your beloved soon-to-be Las Vegas Athletics. In case you forgot, buddy.
Exactly.
All right, Christy, who are you taking?
Okay, so I'm a diehard Red Sox fan. I'm going to go David Ortiz for long ball. But if I want like a double or something like that, I'm going to go Chipper Jones.
Good choice.
And Tony Gwynn.
That's not a bad choice.
I think they both came up big in the clutch. A mini
Chipper Jones.
Chipper Jones, yeah.
My favorite baseball player of all time. Yeah, he's my favorite. Every year
he could swing. He could bat from the left or he could bat from the right.
Every year I played baseball, I wanted to be number 10. I wanted to be number 10 because Chipper Jones was my favorite player of all time. All right, Callan, I'm assuming I'm going to take a stab in the dark here, and I'm going to say you're probably going to go with Gwynn.
I'm going with Gwynn, but I'm also going with Rose and Rod Carew as my other top two hitters for a big moment like that, without a doubt. I mean, I saw Tony Gwynn play my entire life, and I feel fortunate to have been able to learn from him, excuse me, and watch him play as well. And, I mean, there's no telling how many times he'd have 3-hit, 4-hit, 5-hit, 6-hit games and just, wear out the 5.5 hole every game. And Isaiah, small ball is why I have 2 national championship rings playing travel baseball, because you got to play small ball, steal bases, hit and run, bunt, drag bunt. That's why Japan always wins the WBC 9 times out of 10.
Oh, yeah.
So Justin is saying Manny Ramirez is a legend. Okay. He's not.
He wasn't bad.
He's leaving off a lot of guys.
Weird, but he wasn't bad.
No.
Yeah. He's saying Manny Ramirez. He's saying Jacoby Ellsbury. He's saying Johnny Damon.
Was
shocker. He's saying a lot of Red Sox players. Shocker.
I think they weren't bad players.
No, they're not bad players, but they're not clutch.
No, they're not bad, but you can't.
That's why I picked.
You definitely can't put them in front of these guys.
I have one more that I'm shocked that no one's named yet. I don't think.
Oh.
Jeter.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I had him.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I wanted
Did James mention Derek Jeter?
I wanted Joe Morgan.
All right.
But for anybody who says that Derek Jeter was overrated, you know that the dude bat almost 300 almost every single season? Like, the dude was not overrated.
One of the hardest working shortstops in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he busted his butt every season. He was not a slacker by any means.
I'm not a Yankees fan, but
I'm not either.
The dude,
no one on this panel is.
Yeah.
Isaiah probably is a closet Yankees fan for all that we know.
It just
the dude was a flat-out baller. But Ishmael's saying, for me, since I'm a Royals fan, I'm going with George Brett.
Great choice,
not a bad choice either.
Yeah,
Brett's a good choice.
Good choice.
Make sure you check the pine tar on his bat, though, next time.
Yeah, no pine tar.
Well, so Justin, you're saying that Skip Bayless said he was overrated. Well, Skip's an idiot. So
exactly,
the dude doesn't even know what he's talking about. So
yeah,
anyone named Bayless.
I lost respect for Bayless after what he commented about Dak Prescott and mental health.
Yeah, same.
The dude's just the dude's whatever. So
no, Isaiah, Bryce Harper is not clutch either.
Oh.
Bryce Harper is the reason Philly ass strapped Isaiah. This was big.
I was waiting till Callan was on to get to this subject because I know Callan is a huge fan. So I wanted to give Callan a chance to touch on this subject also. But one topic that we were mentioning, Callan, was Sue Bird's deciding to come back again for one more season. So you know what? I'll let you start out with this one. What is your thoughts of Sue Bird deciding to come back yet for one more season?
I applaud her, man. I mean, I applaud her and Tarasi for playing as long as they have. And, I got an email actually from the Mercury about one of their, because I think the series is going to be played in Phoenix. There's going to be one game at Climate Pledge Arena when they go up there. And the Mercury have already built this as the final chapter. So I don't know if they know something that we don't know yet in regards to Birdie and Diana retiring, but certainly they've withstood the test of time. I mean, they've, combined to win 7 titles in their careers, obviously UConn superstars back in the early 2000s, which made me fall in love with basketball on the women's side and just in general. But Sue coming back, I'm not surprised. And I wrote this before I hopped on, though, is I talked to a lot of my friends who are from the Pac Northwest, specifically from the Seattle area. And I asked them, like, you know, because they were obviously, stunned like you guys were about Russell Wilson being traded to Denver. And I think in a roundabout way, the vibe I got was, other than the Sonics leaving, like this was the second most depressing day in Seattle sports history because of what Russ meant to that city for his entire career there. And I even tried telling Mr. Leung yesterday, Russell Wilson getting traded just closes the book on the fact that Sue Bird is the greatest Seattle athlete of all time. It's not Ichiro. It's not A-Rod. It's not Marshawn Lynch. It's not Sean Kemp. It's none of those guys. Sue Bird is the mayor of Seattle sports. The GOAT. And I mean, 4 titles there and going, I think this is going to be like her 20th season in Seattle.
Yeah,
she was
like
drafted.
19th or 20th
again,
season.
I just give her all the flowers she deserves because her and Lauren Jackson built something very beautiful there in the early 2000s. And with them winning, in 04, then in 08, and winning previously, and I think in 18, I want to say, or 19 and 20, or 18 and 20, and just that they have in a way helped fill a major void in Seattle sports when the Mariners weren't great and the Kraken wasn't around and the Seahawks were going through their woes at one point. Yes, they have their Super Bowl and things like that, and the Sounders were winning here and there. Basically, and I tried again to tell Isaiah, it literally goes the Storm, the Sounders, the Kraken, the Seahawks, and the Mariners, in my opinion, for the totem pole because of all those teams winning championships or the new interest in hockey that's being born in the Pac Northwest. But it's mainly because of Sue Bird and to hopefully see her get, make that last run. Again, I've made my plans to go to plenty of games, though, mainly in LA when Chicago comes because of Candace Parker, but because of Phoenix and Seattle, because this may be, again, the Mercury have already built this, they've already been advertising, Sue versus Diana, the final chapter. So again, we don't know what may in fact happen, but you know what? You don't find a lot of OGs or a lot of people who stay in their sport for as long as Birdie and Diana have. I know I've been talking about both of them, though, but I think this means a lot more to that organization, and it means a lot, though, to that city. And I think it means more to Sue, though, because, guys, and I think that everyone minus Isaiah knows, though, that during seasons and during the playoffs, these teams get kicked out of their home arenas for WWE, other sporting events.
Rodeo.
Disney on Ice, and they go and play at college venues or at different places around their city because, they don't draw the revenue and stuff like that. For me, it's more about Sue going back to Key Arena, the main place where she made her name 20 plus years ago in Seattle and playing with LJ and playing with all those great, players with the Storm organization. So, believe me, though, when she does retire, it's going to be a sad day for me as someone who's watched her whole career basically from start to finish. And whenever she goes on the road, though, she's always getting, very warm welcomes. She's not getting booed or heckled. She's getting, applauded, standing ovations at all these markets. And, if this is, in fact, the end, though, I hope that every team, when she goes to their city, they kind of do like what they did for Mariano Rivera when he retired. They kind of, give like some parting gifts, on her way out. But again, all the credit, though, to her, though. And for really, though, I think for the Storm, though, during her time of just keeping Seattle sports fans somewhat like in tune because, the Mariners suck. The Seahawks haven't won anything, or, the Sounders or the Kraken, the Sonics leaving. And really just more so doing their part to, in a way, fill a basketball void, for those great folks up in the Pac Northwest, without a doubt.
Yep, and I do completely agree with you on that. Two things. I don't think anybody expected Sue Bird to play this long, number one. And number two, to me, even though she comes back, it doesn't matter on the amount of minutes that she plays. This is still really impressive that she's deciding to come back. Do I think this is going to be her final year? Yeah, I do think this is going to be it for her, but I still commend her for everything that she's done and definitely playing this long in the WNBA. Very, very impressive. So, Big B, your thoughts?
I think Colin summed it up right. I mean, just what she meant to Seattle. If it wasn't for the titles, then I'd probably put Griffey up there as a name for Seattle. I know there's a couple comments here saying Durant and Allen, which I think is BS.
Didn't play there long enough though to qualify in my book, sadly.
Nope, I agree with you. I agree with you.
With the Sonics.
Edgar Martinez.
There you go.
So I'm gonna leave it to Colin. Colin's watched her whole career. I watched her here and there. To come back for your 20th year, you started every game you played in. Some you got injured, but she's never come off the bench. I mean, if she goes to a bench role, I can see her playing a couple more years after this. But I kind of hope she kind of goes off in the sunset this year, and but 20 years, that's a nice career. So
impressive.
Definitely. And I think this will be it. All right, James?
Yeah, I share the same sentiments with everyone that's spoken so far. Sue Bird will retire with Diana Taurasi, I believe, this upcoming season. She's averaging 10-5, playing 27 minutes still at age 40. I think that's something to behold. Looking back, though, reflecting on how long her career has been, among others, growing up, I had NBA and I was all into that, but Sue Bird was definitely one of my favorite players growing up in the WNBA, along with Tisha Penicheiro.
Ooh, there you go.
Lisa Leslie.
Yes, Lisa Leslie.
Witherspoon, Tina Charles.
Yes.
There was so many. Lauren Jackson, I remember following from Australia on in the Olympics.
Nice.
But Sue Bird was always one of those players where I would stop to watch her pass, to watch her score, just like Penicheiro. Same thing. I loved both of them, and I'll definitely have to tune in. Hopefully, go to some games when the Sparks play the Storm or the Mercury, Chicago, whomever. I'll go see. I'll definitely, if I'm in town, I'll definitely go. I think if you're a fan, you owe it at least one time to try to get to a game, and a lot of times I haven't done that because there hasn't been figures that played long enough for one of my teams. Like with the Angels, like it seemed like everyone leaves at a certain point. They never stay with the team. You never have a chance to, say goodbye or whatever because they go somewhere else. So I think that's pretty special. And yeah, she definitely rules Seattle. Pretty cool story that she gets to play back at Climate Pledge Arena, but Key Arena. I think that's
Arena, baby. Key Arena.
Right. And I'm trying to deny what Colin is saying, but it's true about her in Seattle that she's going to rule that because it seems like everything else now is a step down when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. All right. John, do you have anything to add?
I mean, I give her full credit. I think when we look at athletes, contrary to a certain point where people say women's sports, blah, 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 that stupid stuff, to play 20 years and to do it consistently, I mean, there is nothing negative I could say. I have nothing but love and respect for her as an athlete, as a person on and off the court. I mean, I haven't watched much women's basketball until or maybe this season moving forward. But I give her full credit. She had a great career. And even in women's sports or out of women's sports, I don't think we're going to see a Seattle athlete like her just because Seattle, like you said, the Supersonics left. Russell Wilson's now in Denver. And to win that many championships, regardless of whatever sport it is, contrary to certain beliefs, is still a great accomplishment.
All right, I'm very, very afraid for this, but Isaiah.
Okay. Here we go.
I've been kind of dreading this all day, just because I don't really watch a lot of women's basketball.
Just admit it, you hate women's sports, Isaiah.
Shame.
The two games that I watched was one of them was when I believe the Sonics. I mean, not the Sonics. Good Lord. The
God, Isaiah.
the Seattle. I don't remember what the Seattle
Storm.
but the Storm. Thank you. The Storm were playing in the bubble. They were playing in the finals, and that was the only thing on TV. So I turned it on, and it was Sue Bird and Breanna Stewart playing together, and it was just magical. It was so fun to watch. You know, the ball movement and Sue Bird making all the moves that she did, and after watching that one game that I watched, I really came away with it and was like, wow, what beautiful basketball, and what a great scorer and basketball player that Sue Bird was, and what a great duel that her and Breanna Stewart were for the Seattle Storm. And, you know, definitely Callan put it really nicely with all the stuff that he said about her. You know, she's definitely a legend, and you know,
Come on, Isaiah, say the line. Greatest Seattle athlete of all time.
Spit it out.
Greatest Seattle athlete of all time. I'll give it to you.
Now repeat after me, Isaiah. Diana Taurasi is the greatest Arizona athlete of all time.
Ace, can you stop this torture, my man?
No,
don't do it, Ace.
No, you talk trash about my teams and players. It's about time that you have to take it.
Yeah, taste your own medicine here.
Devin Booker is the greatest athlete.
No!
Larry Fitzgerald.
No.
He hasn't won anything, so no.
Nope.
Come on.
Diana Taurasi is the greatest athlete in Arizona's sports. Yes, in Arizona's sports. There, I'll give you that. What a career, and I mean, she would definitely be missed if it's truly her final year in the NBA.
You mean
WNBA?
You have to put the W in front of NBA there, Isaiah.
Right?
This is exactly
my brain is
fried right now, right?
Follows simple instructions.
All right, Christy, what is your?
I've been let's let everyone calm down for a moment there. No, I've been a fan of the league since it started in '97, and watched Sue Bird since she was drafted. Her and Lauren Jackson, and then her and Breanna Stewart, just perfect pairings. Seattle, she's just incredible. Her and Diana Taurasi, both incredible players, and I'm gonna miss both of them when they're both gone, because I just loved watching them both so much. It was always their games were always so much fun.
Not ready for it.
No, I'm not ready for it either. I'm gonna be crying if both of them retire, and I'm gonna be like, no.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and just end it there because we are almost out of time. So we will go ahead and just call it a night. So
let's forget about the Minnesota topic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But anyways, Big B, go ahead and give us your final thoughts.
Final thoughts is a great show like usual. Thanks for everybody who jumped on. Thanks for everybody commenting. Justin, Cody, Corey, Tim. I know I'm missing somebody there, but Callie, you commented a few times. So just keep checking Coast to Coast all week long. We got plenty of shows, plenty of content for everybody. I know a lot of us are working on special interviews and stuff, so just keep checking us out. Keep checking out updates. And keep liking, sharing, and following Coast to Coast Network.
All right, James.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Some great topics. I think we circled the wagons, definitely past and present. I really enjoyed that baseball question because I had to do a lot of thinking. And since MLB going on right now, it was good to go back in the past like I have. Couple of days watching old games and
don't worry, James, it's gonna get done.
Oh boy. Yeah, hey, again, it was great having a competent host today on the show.
All right, John, any final thoughts?
It's gonna get done.
I'm in a good mood for a certain reason I won't say, but I will also say there's a lot of stuff we'll be quizzing Isaiah in the next coming weeks for Star Wars, because I know that he's going to be extremely confused when it comes
Let's go!
And
yes,
this is the way, and I don't want to be traumatized more, but this is going to do it anyways.
Yes, this is the way.
All right, and then Isaiah.
My final thoughts is that it was a great show. Thank you to Justin.
How many wild takes?
3, I think. Justin,
4.
Casey.
4.
4.
Damn.
Wow.
4.
Damn, Ishmael. Tune into Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace tomorrow. It's gonna be great. We don't know what time we're gonna start, but make sure you tune in. We got a lot of fun, great topics for you tomorrow, and maybe even would you rather or trivia tomorrow. So that's gonna be fun. And yes, Justin, I am backing what I said 2 days ago, and that is Coach K is the greatest coach, not only in basketball, but in sports history. Undoubtedly.
That's number 5.
Number
Shout out
5.
to you, Coach K, on your retirement.
You're back
there's 5.
up to 5 now.
Okay. All right. Christy, your final thoughts.
Well, thanks for letting me hop on. It's always a lot of fun to just talk about stuff like this with you guys, and I really do appreciate it very much. So thank you.
All right, and then Callan.
Thanks for letting me come on. I'll be in the post-show call from my computer. And, yeah, we'll see you on Kicking It. And, yes, Isaiah, I will be there tomorrow.
So will I.
And so will I.
I have spoken.
Because this is the way.
All right. So with that, I really hope everybody has a fantastic night. And just keep watching. Don't forget to watch the episode of Kicking It with Isaiah and Ace tomorrow. And you never know what we'll have in store for you coming up. So with that, I really hope everybody has a fantastic night. And we will see you next week for another episode of Sports Minute. Have a great night.